Yeah, someday.
Hey.
Hey, welcome to West Coast Live.
Yes, sir. Tonight we've got Kris Claeys with the two-wheel drive one-night stand, and then his new toy, a pro modified backstreet driver, and then Tom Walker with good-looking Ford as well, with Heart Strong.
Yes,
How are we doing
sir.
tonight, gentlemen?
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Happy New Year,
Yeah, Happy New Year. I know, right?
yeah.
Anybody ready to continue on 2024? Or we're going to go back to 2023.
No. Move
No.
forward.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Forward. Pull further, go forward.
Yes, move forward.
Get
Right.
it done.
Get it done, right, Tom?
Uh-oh. Are we there?
So, is Tom there? No, you're quiet.
There's a mute button on the very bottom there.
You're still mute.
There you go.
But the volume's way down. No, I still can't hear you.
Yeah, I don't hear him at all. And he's unmuted.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
There you go. Oh,
No. He was talking to us earlier, wasn't he?
I
See,
thought it was.
someday this will be professional. Well, let's start with Kris then.
Yeah. So, Kris, tell us when you first started pulling.
I started coming around about 95 with Butch with the backseat driver, and been kind of his pit bitch for that time. And
We've all been there.
yeah, 2015 is when I built the one-night stand, and said let's do the two-wheel drive thing. I was gonna build a four-wheel drive forever, a country mod, and helped build a couple other super stock two-wheel drives, and drove one for a while as a Global Electric van.
Yeah, that's right.
And that just kind of gave me the idea. I like the way the crowd liked the two-wheel drives, and we didn't really have the wheel standers around here as much as we once did, and said let's do a wheel stander.
Hey, Tom, relog back in.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
There we go.
There you are.
Look at that. Even the hillbilly redneck can figure it out.
Hillbilly rednecking. I love it.
Well, it seems like just yesterday, Kris, that you built that truck. But how long have you had one night stand now?
I built it in 2015. I guess I bought the cab and stuff of the truck in late 14, kind of hid it away from the family for a few months and brought it over in March. Started building it in March, collecting parts for a while, and July 5th, I did a pull in the backyard with Kevin's sled to
That's
do
awesome.
some test runs.
That's awesome.
And basically, it worked from the ground up. And do you remember Gordon Randall with the Fun Runner, Jason?
I think that name sounds familiar, yeah.
Out of Kamloops, it was a 36 Ford.
Okay.
He's Butch's good time buddy. It was a two-wheel drive, and he kind of gave me the blueprints going, this is what I would do, and that's what I went with.
Right. That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
Very
that
cool.
was before Marketplace, so it was a bunch of Craigslist searching. I mean, the tranny I picked up in the back tranny's out of Eastern Oregon. It's a 5-yard dump truck tranny.
Wow.
And then the motor and Turbo 400, I got a 84 Chevy motorhome for $500. So that's what the motor and tranny are out of.
Right on.
That's crazy.
That's cool, though. I mean, you took
Heck
that
yeah.
was cheap. It was cheap, and you were able to get it together. And
Yep.
man,
And
that
then
thing's cool.
my buddy Scott Dyke, rest in peace.
Yeah.
He helped me rip the motor down, and he built the motor, and the truck wouldn't have the wheelie stand that it does without his advice and everything that we did with the motor.
Nice.
Well, and what's neat about yours, I mean, there's some two-wheelers, they seem like they struggle the whole time trying to get up. I mean, yours, as soon as you put it in gear, it wants to freaking stand up. I mean, it is unbelievable. It's just, it does its job right away. And I think it's really cool. Puts
Well,
on
and
one
I
heck of a
know
show.
when I have a good track, a solid track, the front end will be in the air when I nail it.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
Yeah.
and
5 feet off the
and-
line when you're standing straight up and down.
yeah. And you know, as long as the track, if it's got good bite that first 10 feet, I know it'll hook and come back up and stay in the air and go. And I know I had a lot of people going, "Oh, the brakes you put in aren't big enough, this and that," because it's Toyota Tacoma brakes in the rear end, because that's what would fit underneath a 15-inch
Oh,
wheel.
really?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
They're like 98 Toyota brakes with Willwood master cylinders.
Damn.
And I did all the machining, basically that truck started as a cabin chassis. I bought for $1,000, the 37. And to tell you the truth, when I bought the 37, I didn't even realize about the Orange Blossom Special,
Oh,
Seven Chevy.
Wow.
And, built the truck, and then, started remembering the truck, looking up the Orange Blossom, going, well, shit, it's a 37. So I wasn't trying to copy him or anything. It was just, I wanted a wheel stander, and it's what worked.
yeah, for sure.
Well,
And it was the right price.
The Falconette.
Yeah.
Falconette and the Falconette it was an older Chevy too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a 35 Chevys is what Homers were.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That truck, I don't know where. Didn't Campbell's have that truck for a while? Bad to the bone.
They did. They sold it's up there in Canada though.
Yeah, they sold. I think it's still in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah.
They sold it. Yeah, few years, quite a
Sold
while.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulling rigs right now.
Right.
Yeah. But the 37 just was the right truck, and it's does its job. It's
Yeah, it
there
does.
for one thing, and it does what it's supposed to do.
Right. I bet it's fun. You ever had it come down really hard and hurt you or anything? Or?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
We're
yeah?
up to Spokane. I'm betting like 18 or 19. And when we go pull with Sammy and Craig with Cascade Pullers, I do most of the hooking, and we swap right around the middle of it. So Craig comes in and hooks. Well, he hooked me up, and he must have just left a little too much cable in the pull switch. And I'm going down the track. I was probably 175, 200 foot straight in the air, and the dirt packed up so tight around the pull switch, it pulled the kill switch.
Oh,
Slammed me down.
I remember that.
If you ever look at the front tires of the truck, they're at an angle.
yeah. Well,
So all the bracing and stuff you've got welded underneath there now too.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's going to get a new front axle this year, because that's the 37 Chevy axle.
Is it really?
Wow.
Yeah, that's the half-ton axle and springs underneath the front end of it still.
Oh wow.
As it stands up to that.
Airbags or something under there, get a little softer landing.
I've got a rubber block about 6 inches tall that sits between the frame and the spring, so it's more of a rubber spring.
Oh yeah.
That's
How
funny.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ingham with Halfbreed had some similar like that happen. I guess some kids were messing with his kill switch and it was just hanging there.
Oh,
Yeah, Willits. Is it Willits?
Willits, yeah. And so when he went to pull, he was up in the air and it came out. It just hammered that front end, boy.
Yeah.
Bent it all up.
Well, and it's so neat at the end of the track when you can hold the wheel standers, they hold it up there. The crowd goes nuts over that, man. You hear them screaming every single time you guys do that, and it never gets old. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about that is it's never really me holding the brake. It's just because everything's bound up so hard.
Yes, right. Yeah.
I think I've spun off 4 or 5 pinions.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because the rear tranny's direct coupled to the rear end. And when I originally did it, I had everything lined up, and then originally built it with a C103 rear end with a 530 gear, and it wasn't enough gear, so I got a center section from Lopes and put a F106 center in it, so it's kind of a hybrid rear end between the two, and now I got 680s in it, and I've spun a couple off since then, but this set, knock on wood, has been in it for about 4 years now, and I haven't done it, but I've been collecting extra sets of gears.
Yeah. Nice. Right on.
Yeah, I've got a third member. I couldn't swap it out at a pull, but I got a third member that I could, swap out between shows.
Right.
Cool.
Right. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a cool ride for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then the name fits it, but how did that come about?
Yeah.
Well, that was back in my drinking days. And we were sitting at the bar with, Scott and all the rest of the Dyke boys and crew, and kind of figuring out names. And, because you got to have a name for a truck. And he came back and goes, one night stand. I said, well, what about one night wheel stand? He goes, just one night stand. It'll look better.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then the joke was, well, when you get married, you got to change the name to long lasting relationship. So my wife hasn't told me I had to do that yet. You know, she is allowing the name, but
That's so awesome.
Name it the final stand.
Right.
Yeah.
The last stand. Yeah.
And then
Last stand.
the stickers, when I went to the gal who did the stickers for me, I said, you know, it's a 37 Chevy, and she just did all the stickers and came up with the pinup girl and all that. And it was just like, it fit the truck.
That's perfect. Yeah.
It looks
Yeah.
good.
It does.
It's awesome. So tell us about how it came about that you ended up a backseat driver.
Well, backseat driver, you know, known Butch for 25, 30 years. And like I said, I was pit bitched for him for a long time. And we got moving around. And here 2 years ago, was talking to Paul, Butch's boy, and he says, you know, Dad just hasn't talked about the truck much. And I think between COVID and all the, you know, everything everyone's going through, I kind of gave him a cold call and said, hey, Butch, what do you think about the truck? And he wasn't sure, and we BS'd a little bit. And I said, well, why don't you sell it to me and Laura? And he called me back a week later and said, yeah, let's work on it. Let's do it. So
Nice.
took me a little bit to put the money together, but got it. And the original plan, you know, my boy's sitting there next to me on the truck. He's he's 4 or 5 inches taller than me, 14 years old, but I was going to build him a micro mini to work with, go with Mal and all that group.
Nice.
And then we went, well, he's so big, can't really fit in a micro mini. And, well, we'll buy him a 4-wheel drive instead.
Go big.
And then there's not the argument. What's that?
Are you adopting?
Yeah, right. I
already adopted him.
I might even drive a Chevy for that. I mean,
yeah, and so that's the plan. Is I'm gonna get some bugs worked out of it, that, you know, just from sitting and everything. Sure. And when he's 15 with his permit, which is a year or so, and he should be able to drive it, and we'll get it figured out where he can drive it. And you know, that way we aren't going to argue over who's driving the truck. You know, Jason, Greg.
I don't argue.
Yeah, you just do what you're told.
Yeah, I do what I'm told. Yeah. I never have argued about that. Never ever will.
But also, you know, putting a kid in a 2-wheel drive with a wheel stander, there's you know, my first year out with it, I got very lucky being friends with Kevin Stanfley, who owns the sleds down here, and having a yard that we could go run the sled in. And I mean, I did 4 or 5 hooks in a matter of 40 minutes with him.
Right.
You know, because you know, the engine still has water in it, and you know, it's just turn the fans on, cools down, run again. And then was able to go. We pulled in Tenasket that year, and at Tenasket, they always had a fun run like on Friday nights. Mm-hmm. And I think I hooked up there 4 or 5 times. So it was just seat time, learning the pedals and learning, you know, because every time I get in that truck, I gotta remind myself, right pedal to go right, left pedal to go left.
Right. Well, that's a lot for a 16-year-old or 15-year-old to
exactly.
Do. Yeah. 4-wheel drive, I mean, you can blow the tires out of the ground or whatever, but you're just going to go in a straight line, and yeah. And
in the years I've had the truck
before, Jason.
Well, maybe not a straight line, but straighter than a 2-wheeler.
In the years I've had it, I've had 2 other people drive it. Tommy Clough drove it, because Tommy Clough, when we would do Thursday night work parties, instead of going to the bar, all the guys would come over. I'd buy beer and hot dogs, and they'd help sand on the truck or do whatever to work on it. Mm-hmm. That guy was inside the cab of that truck with a wire wheel for an hour and came out dark as can be, just covered with rust. And he always wanted a 2-wheel drive, and I put him in it one night at Banks, and he beat me by 6 feet. It's like, you prick. And then 2 years ago up at Spokane, Corey Code had the
Oh,
issues
yeah.
with Captain Hook, and they came up anyway for the ride. And I said, dude, you're going to drive my truck tonight, because Corey's always talked to me how he wants to build a 2-wheel drive. And, you know, and that's one thing I don't want to say I resurrected it, but I got a lot of people more thinking about the 2-wheel drives. And I've had a lot of calls going, well, how did you do it? Dude, I'll give you my recipe. Make one, you know, go out and run, have fun.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go. That's what it's about. You know, to go out and have fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I know I've said it to several people, but I mean, if there's anyone out there, if Butch's boys weren't interested in the truck, if there's anyone out there, man, it's freaking cool, and everybody's happy that you got it. There's no one else that had it besides you, man. That's
right.
You've put a lot of time and money, and you know, not much time and blood and sweat and tears into that truck over the years. That it's kind of neat that it's yours now, and you can make it your own and stuff. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing. There's some changes on the horizon. Don't really want to, you know, let the cat out of the bag, but you know, there's some plans that will, you know, right now it's Butch's truck that I bought and I'm running. You know, days down the road, that's Chris's truck that, you know, you know, you understand what I mean. You know, there's still trucks out there that we know, so and so owns them, but we know who owned them before, built them, and
you know. No, it's hard to buy a truck like that's got such a history.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. And a history all over the western states and Canada, and you know.
Yeah. Very well known truck. Yep. Yeah.
Well, that's just like whenever my brother bought Third Dimension from Richard up the hill and brought it down here and started running it. His whole plan was to start changing things, make it more of his own. But then the more and more he ran it, the more and more people were remembering that truck. He's like, I can't change it now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bad omen to change it, I think.
Right.
Yeah. But the changes that are coming up are something that me and Butch had talked about for years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an approved change by, you know, my other dad. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know, so it's not like, oh, hey, it's not something I want. It was something we had talked about, and I'd always told him, well, man, you know, years ago when we talked about if I had the wherewithal to get it done and just kind of show up with the parts to do what he wanted to do, I would have loved to do that for him.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, and there's
it's always good to change.
Yeah, and there's a, you know, so that's part of it. And like with his boys, I've told him, you know, anytime you want to drive, the seat's yours. Your kids, when they get older and they want to drive Grandpa's truck, the seat's theirs.
That's neat.
You know, it's, you know, that's one thing. You know, I learned a few things at Spokane or at Banks this year. First time I ever drove the truck. Yeah, that's when it was still the long wheelbase.
Yeah. Sheesh.
That's probably right after it got painted white, because it ran around for quite a few years in the early 80s as a rust red color, you know, primer red.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, primer red and a shoe polish names.
Yeah. We've all been there.
I did that for years too. Shoe polish.
Yep.
Well, the first time I ever saw Butch and Backseat Driver run was in 19 when I came to Sublimity, and I remember he pulled before I did, and I'm sitting there in my truck, and I'm hear him take off, and he just gets on it, and I hear that shift. I'm like, did he just shift?
Yeah,
you know, like,
it blows your mind. I know. It's like what?
Well, the first time I drove it at Banks, it was one of those surreal moments, because I had it there at Banks, and I'm sitting in the truck going, I'm driving this truck, and Butch isn't here. Yeah. And I'd never driven the truck before. You know, his boys had driven it, and me and him had talked in the years, you know, about trading trucks or, you know, running each other's truck, and it just never worked. And it was, you know, more of a jokingly kind of trade thing.
Yeah.
And it was an eye opener. I mean, Jason was there when I ran it the first night, and the hub didn't lock up, and the thing went crooked, and just like, what the hell? I had no idea what to do. And then fixed the hub and ran it the next night, and nice straight run. It's like, oh, okay, now I understand what I'm getting into.
Yeah. Well, we were all laughing, giving you a hard time. The first time, it's like, geez, we need to get that kid back in a 2-wheel drive. You can't drive with 4 tires on the ground.
Well, he was graduating. He went 2, 3, so you're not.
Yeah.
You know,
progression.
Yeah, progression. Yeah.
The best part about that at Banks is we sent Butch a bunch of videos. He calls me up and he goes, "You didn't get on it hard enough, fast enough."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I put it
You're
to the
always gonna
wood
get
like
that.
I was launching a race car.
Oh, it's funny. That is funny.
You're always gonna get that.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. God, Quelo always gets after him after Gary whenever he makes a pass with wild hair.
Yeah.
Well, how come you didn't win? Or what was wrong with the other truck? You know,
What did you do wrong? Yeah.
what did you do wrong? Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to drive Gary nuts. Still does, but
That's awesome.
yep.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, though. Having fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Learning.
I just keep on going back to this picture with that wheelbase. I'm like,
I
holy,
know, isn't that great? Could have been a super modified.
Let me
hey,
tell you
did
a
it,
story
did it
about
fit on
that.
the scale?
Let me tell you a story about that wheelbase. So Butch tells me back in the 80s and 90s when he had run up to Canada, they had some of them had gone to the NTPA rules of the 133-inch wheelbase. Some of them were still running whatever wheelbase the truck was.
Uh-huh.
He had two sets of drive lines, two sets of drive shaft loops, and you could roll that rear end forward to the 133-inch wheelbase.
No
So
way.
he could go up,
Jesus.
run it as that with the long bed,
Yeah.
and then go to another track up there. And he'd tell me, he ran his own shop forever. He goes, if you went up one weekend and it was a good weekend, he just wouldn't go back home for the week, stay up on vacation, and go to another pull the next weekend somewhere else up in Canada.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
You see what I see there in the background, Chris?
Yeah, I see wild hair back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Quelo right there.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That
got
could
the
be
zoom-
at the
it's got the zoomies.
Coliseum.
Yeah, I bet you that's Portland. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
could be- yeah.
It's got the chrome covers on it, and it's got the zoomies on it.
Yeah.
I'd say it's probably about 89.
So I see there Butch must have been running like a country or something, huh?
So I believe when he first built it, like everyone around here, it was just like a LS6 big block Chevy with a dual quads on it. I mean, Ralph ran a small block for years, didn't he, Jason?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. I think
When it-
all of us kind of
Yeah.
started in the smaller classes. Yeah. Mhm.
Yep. From the stories I heard from Butch, he started out running his daily flatbed that he had, his old tow rig, Jason.
Right.
And then built this truck in '83, and it was kind of from there on out. And I don't think the rules were quite as hard now as for pro mod to country mod, and there was no country mod, so it was kind of run what you brung deal, but meet some rules.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, lots of memories of that truck, man. Because it was Phelps, Martellas, and us always would travel together because we all lived right around here, and it was. I mean, spent a lot of time following that truck down the freeway. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I thought Martella's truck was coming back out.
Yeah, I think someone bought it and it's coming out. I think they're planning on getting it out this year. I think.
Fatal traction.
Yeah, fatal traction.
Fatal traction. Last I heard, it was in Mount Vernon, Oregon.
Yeah,
that's where the truck ended up. Or I've seen it there off Highway 26, and know that I think the guy's got some 535. Butch had talked to him or something like that he's putting in it.
Nice,
Cool.
good.
I don't know, for facts, but something like that.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, Tom, we got your mic working over there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we?
Yep.
Yes, we do. Chad Law, that's it. Yeah.
I love.
Yeah,
There you go.
Cool.
Right on. Cool.
So Tom,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Jason.
Well, I was say since you're one of the newbies, I guess, around here. How long you been pulling?
Well, I think I am actually the newest newbie of newbies for just about most of the classes. So, I mean, I had a 76 F-150 that I used to pull just in the stock. And then I had bought a truck in Arizona that was pretty much done. It was a 78, 79 Ford. The guy was building it for down in Arizona. And I bought it with the intentions. Yeah, that's it there. of building a country mod because I had a guy that worked for me that some of you may know, Robert Ross, who ran a Chevrolet. And then one of my wife's relates had a Dodge. And so I was going to build a Ford country mod, didn't know shit about it. And so I bought this truck and said, well, I can make country mod out of it. Well, it just so happens, I don't know, I think it's probably a little bit of a conspiracy on Robert's part, but I bought the truck and then I was working down in Reno and he called me and he said, hey, I got a truck for you. It's turnkey, ready to go. And I'm like, well, that sounds way better than what I got going. So he gave me Brian's number. I called Brian, got it all set up, and actually bought it sight unseen. He sent me a video of it running.
Yeah.
And so I bought it sight unseen, get up there to pick it up, had one of the guys bring one of our rollbacks up there, and then he explains to me the difference between a country mod and a pro mod, and that I had bought a pro mod. So I guess it was I was all in out of the gate.
Yep.
But
Okay, Tom just topped Titsworth's story of not telling the wife and bringing it home.
Nice.
yeah, so we got it home, and of course, when I got it home, then I had to call Brian and ask him. Well, first off, I asked him where the hell the radiator was. He explained to me that there wasn't a radiator, and how to start it, and how to drive it. And then about I don't know, 3 months later, we took it out to Banks and pulled out in Banks, and actually Kris was there and helped me a lot. Craig and Sammy helped me a lot. Ralph helped me get it going as far as understanding what the hell I was doing. So we went the first year with it pretty much turnkey, changed the oils from how we got it from Brian. And then the next year, Brian somehow talked my wife into building a different motor. And so we built a different motor.
Everybody loves Uncle Brian.
And then the next year, it was just kind of getting to be kind of weird. Brian talked Julie into getting new tires and wheels. So then we got new tires and wheels.
I need to have Brian talk to my wife.
Yeah, there we go.
He called me too on those tires.
My Julie's sitting here. She goes, I'm not taking Brian's call.
No, that'd be a good call. That's a good idea.
Hey, did Brian get this one going too?
Oh,
No, that one was all me. That one was, well, the truck part was all me. The other part was not me.
I hope not.
Things cool.
Yeah, you're too old for having a baby that young.
We actually got two of those wagons. The grandson's got one and we got one.
That's so cool.
Nice.
So yeah, we did that and just
Get ready.
You're welcome.
thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Humphrey.
I got a story about Humphrey too, though. This year up in Spokane. So when I bought, worked out the deal with Butch, we kind of kept it under wraps until we brought the truck out. And when I finally picked it up in June, I'd basically bought it a year and a half before that. And I was up talking to Humphrey, and he goes, I understand what you're talking about with the truck from Butch and not letting it out from under wraps. He goes, but you burned me on my truck. I go, well, what do you mean? Well, I was headed east on 84 and saw a Challenger coming down on the flatbed. And I think I was actually headed to Tonasket, and I got to Tonasket, and I hadn't remembered Challenger. It had been parked for what, 8 years?
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And grabbed Sammy and Craig. Go, hey, what truck's I think I called Sammy on my way. Go, what truck's green? Heading west. And she goes, holy shit! And realized that Brian had sold it, and so he kind of gave me a little talking to this year up at Spokane. But understood the facts of it too, and I know he told me he couldn't have asked for a better guy to get it, Tom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, we're super happy with it. I mean, obviously not being in the pulling world, outside of some stock pulls, it was pretty awesome the way everybody jumped in, because we had our fair share of problems.
Oh boy.
All the way
You
up.
earned your rookie stripes, that's for sure. I mean,
all the way up to last year. which I'm glad 23 is over. I hope it
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
abolishes into something nobody ever remembers.
We want the best for you next year, that's for sure.
So yeah, and actually,
how many motors did we go through this year, Tom?
we went through 2 if you're
Okay.
counting. If you want to know the time frame, it's about a 3-week window.
About 25, 30 feet. No, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, something like that.
All right,
The
we'll give you
second one, I
500.
was standing right. The second one, I was standing right next to it, and I'm like, "Oh, I've never heard that before." Ow!
Man, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because that was a borrowed motor, and the part of the borrowed person was standing there and also never heard that before and was a little dumbfounded.
Yeah. Well, at least
So yeah, we drank about it Saturday night.
Yep.
Yeah.
We drank about it Saturday night in Harrisburg also.
Yeah.
Then I became the group's pit bitch for several events after that.
Oh, you crew cheat.
Ron's done that too. He's down. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been a good gig. It's actually Kris was part of the design with Stephanie, because kind of like Kris, I just gave Stephanie a blank canvas and said, "Hey, here's what I got. Here's what we're shooting for," with the whole remembrance thing, and I know Kris was part of the kind of the design on that.
Yeah. Well, and Tom, explain the story of the. I know it's a tough one, but explain the story of why it's called Heartstrong.
So my daughter got married in June of. Oh, she's gonna kill me. I'm thinking
Don't worry about the date. It's not important.
we were 16. Got married in June. Her husband was in the Marines stationed in Hawaii. So they were in Hawaii. Long and short is there was a training accident between 2 helicopters, and they both collided. And unfortunately, none of them made it through it. So when we got home, getting the truck put together, and obviously we got to have a name. So I kind of left it to my daughter and her mother-in-law, Ty's mom, to come up with a name. They came up with Heartstrong. We were looking at either Pegasus 3132, because that was the 2 helicopters, or Heartstrong. They came up with Heartstrong, and I said, done. Sent it to Stephanie and said, "Hey, here you go, blank canvas. This is kind of what I want." Her and Kris kind of came up with the scheme that's on there, and we've gone ever since then with that. And we've had a lot of fun with it. We get to do a lot of things outside of pulling with it when it has a motor in it. I actually was invited to go to something here not too long ago, and I was trying to figure out how I could just glue a set of stacks on the side of the hood and a manifold on there to make it look like there was a motor in it, so it at least looked like a truck puller. But yeah, that's how it came out, and we battled with it at first, because there's actually a Heartstrong Foundation, and Trina Hart, Ty's mom, kind of had some battles with it out of the beginning, because people were going, "I can't believe you guys are spending money on Heartstrong." Well, anybody that's on here that's worried about that, I can tell you right now, the Heartstrong Foundation doesn't have any dollars in this thing. we do it simply in remembrance and fun, and we just have fun.
That's awesome. No, that's really neat that you did that. That's pretty cool. Very cool story. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and it's fun that these trucks, they all have there's always a meaning behind the name. There's meaning sometimes like Heartstrong, and then there's ones just like Kris's, they're all in a bar and goofing around. But there's always a story behind these names, and it's fun. It's neat to hear it for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's kind of like Kris's too. I didn't know, well, any of you guys, in this whole world of pulling that we do, but the truck was very well known before I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still people today going, "Oh man, that looks just like the truck that used to run up in Washington." Well, it is the same truck. But it was up in Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember going over to Stephanie. She called me up and says, "Hey, come over here. I need help." And they got a little tiny shop, and here's this truck on a flatbed backed in their fresh paint. She's like, "What do you think about this and this?" And we got the Bulldog worked out, and said, "Yeah, let's figure."
Yeah. No, it's neat. It's very neat. And I love the weight bar too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It turned out good. I wish I kind of wanted to redo the weight bar, and I wish I'd have done it before I did all the stickering.
Mm-hmm.
But now it is what it is.
Yep, I like it.
It's there to stay now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, need to get a motor in there now. So
Oh yeah, got to have one of those.
Something like that.
I got some parts for one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a slightly used set of racing heads if anyone's interested.
You have a lot of slightly used parts.
I
don't
do.
know if they're destroyed quite, but they're close.
No curve to them.
Yeah. Not
The
much
oil pan and the intake are still good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Those aren't cheap items either.
Yeah.
No, nothing cheap.
There's one head that might be good, maybe.
Yeah. And there's 3 cylinders on another head that are kind of good.
Yeah, it's fine.
So if you want to run a 7-cylinder, we're
With
set
enough
up.
welding rod, you could make that head new again.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh man.
Welding rod and a die grinder.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, one of my favorite stories, and I think it's pretty cool, is not many people do this with their truck. Just your daughter decided to get married again, right? And did it on a
No,
truck
my son.
Oh, your son, that's right.
Yeah.
Got married on a truck pulling weekend, which who does that? Anyways, instead of leaving your truck in your shop at home, you're like, hey, Brian should drive it. I'm going to drive it down there. We should have Brian Humphrey get back in it because he was coming down to Harrisburg with Steve and with Hengems and stuff. And I was telling Tom, I said that first off, it's amazing that you did that, and hats off to you. That's impressive. But watching Brian go from just being around truck pulling, however, 8-9 years since he's pulled, to getting back in the seat, it was fun watching him. He got nervous, but he was focused and kept coming up. What do you think? What are you thinking on the track? I'm thinking on that side. Yeah, I was thinking, oh crap! Oh no!
I got you, boys.
Dang it!
The legend.
But it was so fun watching him just get back into pulling mode. Not I'm helping a guy go pulling. I'm going pulling mode, and I'm going to win this pulling mode. And I think that was the same. That was the night that Dad, you, and Steve all drove, all the old timers, and they all took first, second, and third. It was freaking awesome. It was badass.
Nice.
Badass. Yep.
That was a fun night for sure.
Yeah. We were pretty excited about it. I mean, that's kind of what we bought it for, was just, I mean, for those of you that are around me enough know that if they're going to let me pull, I'm going to pull. It could be 6 times in one event or once. But yeah, it was, when Julie and I talked about it, it's like, okay, well, why would it sit here? That just seems dumb. And I knew Brian was coming down regardless of what was happening. And I knew that if it was there and there was nobody sitting there, that if I couldn't talk him into it, I knew there was enough people there that could talk him into getting in the seat.
He didn't have a choice. He was driving that weekend.
and the good shitty thing about it is he pulled better in Harrisburg than I've ever pulled. I might just hire him as my driver.
The truck likes him, see?
Yeah, he jumped right in and drove it like he'd not been out of the seat forever. He drove it like a freaking pro. That's for sure.
Years of experience.
Yeah,
that was after that first wheelie in reverse, Jason. Remember
Right.
Yeah, little too much throttle there.
Well, then wasn't it too after you warmed it up and stuff, and then you went to go start it and they wouldn't start. We start come over here. Yeah, got to turn the fuel on.
That helps. I pushed it, but I didn't push it all the way down. I hadn't sat in the seat to go hook for years. And your dad sticks his head in there. He goes, "Turn the fuel on." That I did. Oh, wait a minute. It's on the way.
Now it's on. Yeah.
It'll probably run.
Oh, that's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
Funny story about that is I had to call Brian when I got the truck and ask him how to turn the fuel on.
Well, at least you know like how many times he's told me to do that, but now he got to the point where he just would open the door, reach in, and pull the fuel, and then just look at me and slam the door. Sorry.
In trouble.
The funny thing about that, so that I did on Friday night down there, and then Saturday night, Jenny was trying to get Moonlighter to run after we'd warmed it up. And she's over there cranking on. I go over and go, "Turn the fuel on." Oh yeah, that works pretty good.
Yeah, it helps.
We've all been there.
Oh yeah, and
Right.
we'll all be there again.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's-
I even put on off, and I still get it wrong.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a big sticker this wide on mine. Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Damn it.
Yeah, I had that problem with the backseat driver, and I'm trying to figure out all the switches still because none of them are marked.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's not good. Got to mark
It
those.
still has an ignition key in it.
Oh wow.
Yep.
He just took the whole dash out and moved it back.
Well, just the column, just the
Oh.
steering column.
That's funny.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
good.
it was built, back in the day when it was just get it done and let it run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt.
I don't know how quick we
For
are.
sure.
We're learning, that's for sure.
I don't know if we're quick learners or not. We're pullers, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Kris, it was
Right, Kris.
family-
I don't know if that means you're quick or not, for
No.
sure.
Exactly.
For Kris,
Slow
it
learners,
was
more like.
a family of quack learners for Kris.
Like they say, how to become a millionaire as a truck puller? Start out as a billionaire.
Billionaire, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Oh,
Well, there's still nothing better than hanging out with a bunch of good people that help one another and care so much about one another. It's
yeah, joy, yeah.
that's what it's all about. And this group has just gotten bigger,
Yeah.
and how they show respect for one another
Yeah.
is
All right, a little fun.
pretty good.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, and you're right. This keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The family, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right.
Well, it's the reason that I've stayed in it, because I had all the reasons to get out of it this year.
Right.
And just I've told my wife several times that the minute that I don't have fun and it starts becoming a job,
Yeah.
and we're getting rid of it, because
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've had a job for a lot of years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Use some, but for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And it's way too much involved for it to be a work.
Yes.
It's got to be about fun and the camaraderie and the people that are in this group. This whole, not just the pro mod group, but just the whole. I went down to California, and people I'd never met before in my life, and it was pretty flippin' amazing.
Yeah.
Just how easy everybody was, and it was getting along with everybody, and everybody was helping everybody, and it was just great camaraderie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
No,
what
it's
year was it, Tom, that you broke the rear end in Heartstrong? Was it 21 or 22 down there at
21.
Sublimity?
Yeah,
21.
21.
Yeah, and Veenendahl, just goes, take the one out of the two-wheel drive.
Yep.
And me and you were
Yeah.
underneath there wrenching it out, and I also noticed, this isn't a 106. It's not going to work.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
was able to put it back together. But
Well, the first time we took it out was in Banks, and of course it had been sitting, so some of the seals were bad and stuff like that, and it was puking fuel, and of course
Yep.
I don't know shit about it. And Jared
Learn, boy.
comes over and with his service truck, and they start tearing it apart. Him and Craig and Mike are
Yep.
tearing it apart, and I'm like, well, you guys got to kind of walk me through this, and they're like, no, get out of the way. They tore it apart, and everybody got it put back together. Roy Coleman came over and gave us a new fuel pump, and I never met anybody over there.
Yep.
Anybody.
Yeah.
And then we went out and pulled.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of when I fell in love with it and thought, okay, this is probably an okay thing.
It's all right. Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, yeah.
I can say it's the most money I've ever spent on friends, though.
Right.
But it's also the most fun I've had with my clothes on. So
There
you got those two things going for me.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and this is cool how, how many polls did you go to this year after you blew your motor? And that's what's neat is if people get upset and don't want to, I'm not going to go anymore. I'll come out next year. You're like, nope, let's go. When's the next poll? I'll be there. And that's pretty freaking neat.
Hey, the
Come out
perfect
and support
example.
everybody.
The perfect example is Tom putting up riding with Gish for 14 to 15 hours all the way down to Madera.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Well, I got the first couple hours by myself because he was riding with mom and dad until we met up at
He's
the.
probably sleeping.
Probably.
Is on the couch.
Right, yeah.
But it's funny when we got to our rest area where we're going to camp for the night. He had no qualms about jumping back in the motorhome to sleep for the night instead of on the couch in the camper.
You said something about being gassy and all that stuff and small quarters. I'm like, yeah, I'll go in the motorhome.
Yeah, no, it's we've had a blast with it. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that just everything kind of falls in place, and I mean, I probably wouldn't be here today. God, I hope he's not listening. If it wasn't for Robert, getting me hooked up with Brian, to be able to get into this because I would have probably realistically would have never got the other truck put together because I didn't know enough about it. I didn't know enough people in it, and it would have probably just ended up selling the exact way I sold it when I did sell it. And so, yeah, I'm pretty thankful for the whole group that's kind of brought us in and just said, hey, come on in. You're part of it and let's get her done.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Chad Phelps was working for you when you had that white truck.
Yep.
I came over and saw it and talked to Chad. And that's right when I was doing my own business. And I said, well, maybe I'll call this guy and see if I can help him build his truck. So you would have got it built.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was
heavy.
I think it was set up more for a pro mod.
Yeah. It looked heavy to me,
but the guy that was building it though, he worked for I think it was Great Dane Trailers.
Oh,
and everything inside that bed, inside the cabin, everything's all aluminum. And that's what he did was built aluminum trailers.
Huh.
And it was a pretty nice build.
So it really wasn't that heavy.
Yeah, I remember looking at it.
Huh. Where'd it go?
It ended up down in Tennessee. The guy that bought it, let's see, he ended up going, I'm guessing down there, which is probably a super pro stock or a country modified class.
Huh. Right
on. But I haven't, last time I talked to him, he hadn't run it in like 2 years.
Huh.
They had a drop box in it too, didn't it?
It had the drop box, but it only had one set of gear, didn't have the bowl gears in it.
Yeah.
It was kind of an empty case a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
But he had done some really nice stuff on it, but yeah, it was probably more than I was ever going to get into. So I'm kind of glad everything worked out the way it did. Other than I'm sure Brian at the time that I bought it, because I was in Reno and didn't know shit about what I was doing, was like, holy shit, what do I do? And so he was nice enough to at least send me a video of him actually going out and starting the truck, not just a video of the truck running.
That's awesome.
And it did. It fired right up. And it ran and
did a heck of a salesman, didn't he? Boy, that guy.
It did everything I said it would do.
Yeah.
And then I found out how the pullers really work. I went up there. The guy that was coming up, bringing up our roll deck, he was a few hours behind us, and so I think we were at your son's house, right, Brian?
Yeah, we were at Matt's.
And I had my nephew with me, and we're sitting there talking, and I mean, it was as if we had all known each other for years, and I mean, it was like a 3-hour conversation. As I find out now, when you go to a puller's house or a puller's shop, they're always 3-hour conversations.
Yeah.
Minimum. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. Yep. That's funny.
Yeah, you better bring a 6-pack so you can have some, a conversation.
Is you gonna get thirsty? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tom, tell the truth. If you're in Reno, you went and put a bunch of chips on black and says if it lands on them, I'm going to buy it. Then.
No, that's not the way it went at all. Robert called and I called the house and I said, hey, here's this deal. What do you think? And she's like, well, if you want to get one, then I think it sounds like a pretty good deal. So it went on, and only because I don't play table games, and I just threw enough away down there on other games. But yeah, no, it was just, okay, we're going to do it. And I knew I could sell the other one. I didn't think I'd have a problem selling it.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah, for a while I had 2 of them in the shop, and I felt pretty cool.
I bet.
I didn't know what to do on either one of them.
Right.
I've got 2 of them in the shop, and I feel like I got an extra hole in my head.
I got 1, and it feels like I got 5.
Right. No kidding.
John's got 4.
4, yeah.
And you don't work on any of them.
Yeah.
Just a Dodge.
Yeah, he only owns one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, to Sue's little comment, I got some stuff I got to take down to Venadals, and I'm sure I'll probably reserve a hotel down there somewhere.
Yeah.
Just bring the camper.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding.
There you go.
Yep. Put the
Yeah,
camper on the
okay,
truck.
yeah. That's awesome.
Head down there.
Yeah.
So how far along is your motor, Tom? I mean, you have parts?
You would think one that's putting a motor together would know this. From what I understand, we're at short block stage.
Well, good. That's good.
Intake is going to be shipped out end of the month.
Nice.
So outside of that, I'm not 100% sure because I know Dwayne's been pretty busy and sick and probably sick and tired of Tom calling him all the time.
Yeah.
So Papa Gish is kind of my go-to on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're close to short block stage.
Well, that's good. That's a good stage to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
That means you will be running in 24.
That is Dwayne's plan for sure.
Yeah. Good. That's good.
Which
news.
is I'm also on that plan.
Do you say what pull in 24?
Yeah, right.
Did not say what pull. He just said that we'll be pulling in 24.
Right. Rockford.
Hopefully there's one in December, huh? No,
Right, yeah. Right before you put them away. Yeah.
Indoor somewhere.
Right, yeah.
Which would end up, if that was the case, it would end up being the cheapest year I had in pulling. If I waited till this end of the poll.
This is true.
Knock on wood on that one.
Yep, for sure. Yep.
No kidding.
Aren't a bunch of you guys getting so Tom and Kris and John, aren't you all having some motor work done now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 I am certainly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you are.
Kris keeps on sending me books on how to straighten my distributor, but I just cannot read it right.
Yeah. I'm like, man, get that
You
thing
know, it's
straight.
off kilter just a little bit, but I really don't see a whole lot of problem with that. What the heck?
Yeah.
And I lean in the seat too, so
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
not like Gish when he leans in the seat and he lets go.
Right. Truth. Facts. Yeah.
More horsepower if it's straight, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just on the wrong side of the motor and it's a Ford.
Oh no, it's up front just like everything else.
And it turns backwards.
Oh yeah. That's the wind up the rubber band.
Yeah.
It's real tight.
The wind-up toy.
Yeah.
It does make it easier, at least for me, to get my fat ass in there and work on it when I don't have to crawl all the way through the motor to get to the distributor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Anymore with the crank triggers is up front anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit, I'm still running 70s technology. I got a tack drive Corvette distributor in it.
oh wow.
Wow.
Jeez.
That is a 427 Corvette tack drive out of a 67 Vet that was machined down and moved the collar to go in the tall deck.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Did it come
And,
with a
Oh,
whole
it
man?
runs good though.
Yeah.
Did it come with a crank too?
Huh?
Did it come with a crank?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the tax out of a GTO is what Butch always told me, and it's I found out this year that it actually is a tattletale. You just got to hit a little switch, and it puts the dial back down, so when the arm hits it, it stays where it went.
Oh, nice.
Funny.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
that's
not a
awesome.
tattletale. You hit an electric button and get told what it did.
Yeah. If it works, it works, right?
Yeah.
It works.
Right. Yep. Heck yeah.
So, Little Gish, I noticed that before
Little Gish.
you notice I didn't say squishy gishy.
That's only John's nickname.
I noticed that before Mom and Dad left, Dad made sure the motor was out and apart before, so we couldn't take it down.
Yeah. Right.
In
Yeah.
February,
no
right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it's a pedal car right now.
Uh-huh.
Put a stone in it.
Yep. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
You got to do that. Make sure everything's good.
Exactly.
We don't need no issues. We
Yep.
travel too far to have issues. Tom knows.
Absolutely.
Well, we all know we've had problems before. It's just
Yep.
sucks big
Yeah,
time.
for
It
sure.
happens.
Yeah, I certainly knew when mine went. I wasn't the first.
No.
No, it's unfortunate. Nobody
Nobody wants to see anybody.
wants to see that for anyone, no matter what.
No.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just
Taboo.
yeah.
We don't want that.
Yeah, it hurts when you see that.
It does. It hurts. It really does. It bothers. It bothers most people that
Absolutely.
really truly get it for
Yeah.
sure.
I've gone from pit bitch to pit whore in a heartbeat and helping everyone I can.
Yeah, right.
And still making the same money, huh?
Yeah.
Yep, nothing.
It's right.
Not a dime. Yeah.
Not a dime.
Yeah.
You go from pitch bitch to pitch whore to trailer bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yep.
Yep, for sure.
Sweet.
Jeez. Now Susie's onto that.
I heard that floating around somewhere down there in California, and so I thought,
Yeah.
I might as well keep it going.
That's a John Boy thing right there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I think Schultz started that on a show one night.
He would.
Yeah. Wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it. So,
Well, you better ask the question,
the
Kris.
big question
Yep.
for Kris first.
Okay.
If you could drive any pulling vehicle, whose would it be and why?
Where?
And where?
I'd probably say alimony just to be able to fill 3 engines,
Yeah.
or Major Woody to fill 5 engines.
Mhm.
Yeah. Multi-engines, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
I-
Where at?
the
Where would be
two-
your favorite place to pull?
My favorite place to pull, I love Sublimity every year. I get to see all my guys from California,
Yeah.
guys from Washington.
Yeah.
We got guys out from Idaho. That's
Yep.
that's the one trip. I mean, I love every pull I go to, but that's that one that I'm waited for all year long.
Yeah. It's a good one for sure.
Can't
You
wait
left
to
out
see.
Nevada.
Huh?
Nevada. Sorry,
Nevada,
I forget. You just kind of balled in there in that California.
You get stuck in
They
California.
all the
Yeah.
time, oh, you're California guys. I go, well, I'm glad.
I'm not. Yeah. I do it too, Kris.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
It's all right. I know what you guys mean.
Yeah, somebody's pull you can't wait for all year, and then you can't wait to leave.
Yeah.
I'm one of the first ones out the door on Sunday
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah, I bet.
Uh-oh.
How far is that for you, Kris?
It's an hour.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I just like to get home, be able to get shit unloaded, and
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Wow.
get to the couch as fast as you can.
yeah.
I'm
I just had
gotcha.
4 days because I go down. I mean, like you guys come up Wednesday. I go down Thursday morning, and it's
Yeah.
all the way through till Sunday morning. It's a
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
exhausting.
but
trash.
Jason, Kris is smart. He doesn't drink.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
So that Sunday is pretty relaxing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's helped a
miserable
few.
like it is for us.
We're still praying that Sunday slips right into Tuesday.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're taking Monday off.
Yeah.
Right. We wish we had somebody that drive us home is what
Uh-huh.
Right. Yeah.
Well, especially for you guys that have a little bit of a drive.
Oh
Yeah.
man, last year I
Just a
can keep
little.
my eyes open. It was horrible.
Oh yeah.
Going home.
Yeah. Bad.
Yeah,
So-
that was me up in what was that one we did first, Jason, way up north in
Oh
Washington.
Linden.
Linden. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, that's a long.
That drive
way.
home sucked.
Yeah.
Man. That was bad.
Well, you caught up real quick that night because you had to go out to dinner, right, or something, and then you came back and he caught up real quick. Him and Jack caught up real quick.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I certainly didn't want to be that guy.
They were flying, huh? So what about you, Tom?
So I mean, I've got probably 2. One's a special place, and that's obviously for Double Ugly because the Godfather and and Jason helped me out and support me a lot. But to be honest, if I was going to drive a truck, it'd be yours, Kris.
Really?
And it'd be at Sublimity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It would.
Dang.
Oh.
My head's all swollen.
Yeah, that's all right. That's right. That's why you sit in the middle of the cab.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that feels like, huh?
Room to grow.
I'm just trying to get it to both sides of the cab for you.
It just bounces out the truck. See, that's why.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only one that I know of. When he backs up to the sled and puts it in neutral, they say, put both hands out the window. He goes like this.
He can do it. Yeah.
Smacked a flagman.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. What about you, Brian?
What?
Which
What
truck?
would be the favorite pulling rig you'd love to drive and where?
Honestly, if we're talking about, the group of fellas that you all and up and down the West Coast, I would probably kind of have to go along with Kris and maybe take a shot at like alimony or something like that. I think that'd be pretty fun. It would probably be, very scary. Because right now, every time I pulled for all the years I pulled, the first thing I did when I got ready to get in the truck is you better find a bush someplace and empty a little water off. And then you're going to go, and then your guts are all tore up until you get hooked up. And once you get hooked up, things kind of come around.
Yeah.
But man, bad before that. So I can only imagine that on something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
You got to have that sit time to focus on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well,
It would
Brian,
be scary.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Brian, rumor has it you can have that tractor and
I
and
understand.
semi and
the
trailer and the whole nine.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
thing.
He's been trying to sell it to Julie for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we
It'll
just
only
hear
cost you a
that
mortgage. It'll only cost you a mortgage. That's it.
Yeah.
Brian's getting back into it again? Did we just hear that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It
neat.
would be nice, but holy cow.
Yeah.
Talk about a headache times 3.
Time 3.
Well, it was funny last night. Britchke came by and we were talking a little bit about it, and we were talking about the TPC and everything else. And when we went back there the first time, and he's got to adjust valves on 4 motors in between doing the pulls, and he goes, "Man, it's going to be so nice if you go because it's only going to be 1 motor.
Right. Right.
We can get done in a half an hour and go, relax."
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, those guys with those multi-engines, I mean, the amount of work that they put into those is phenomenal.
Oh,
It's just crazy.
Watching the Wheatleys show up with
Oh,
4
my
barrels
God.
of fuel and
Yeah.
Well, adjusting valves, changing oil. I mean,
Yeah.
holy cow.
Right. 11? I think we counted 11 engines.
Yeah.
That they have to
Yeah.
fit around. It's like, holy
Yeah.
crap, man.
Yep. And all huffer motors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not one that's simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Whew.
And and like that, the Avenger or whatever, the one that Kris just went ahead and just put together with all the
Yeah.
spare parts.
Right.
Nothing's all one of the same.
Yep.
Right.
And then watching Kris stress out because Jack lately has been getting more kind of just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it drives Kris freaking nuts.
Yeah.
It drives him nuts. And it's funny.
Yeah.
I think he was about ready to kill
Jack
the
won't let him adjust the valves either. He
Yeah.
gotta do it himself.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of work.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Too much.
They're all the same though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just some is more than less.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, come on, Sue.
Sue. Jeez, what a killjoy.
The only thing holding you back is fear and common sense, and fear
Right.
tastes like chicken.
What's common sense taste like then?
I have no idea.
Oh, fat lip.
Yeah.
I don't think there's 6 guys standing here that don't have much of it.
Nope.
Nope. No common sense.
None.
Well,
Well, thank you guys. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming
Thank
on.
you.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
thank
coming
you
on.
guys.
That was a good show.
time.
Yep.
Thanks for having me.
Very
Yes,
good
sir.
show. You
Yeah,
bet.
glad
We'll
you
do
came on.
We'll do it again sometime for sure.
Yeah.
You guys have an awesome night.
Thing rolling.
Yep. All right.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about something. I promised Schultz I would do it. And
TPC.
we're gonna
Full
talk-
pole TV.
Yeah,
Yep,
full pole
TPC.
TV. Let's get Massetti
Yeah,
on here.
Mention full pole TV again.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got the Pullers Championship. They're doing their fan vote right now. You go to thepullerschampionship.com. You
Yeah.
can go on there and vote.
Yep.
You can go on there and vote for me. You can vote for Kris.
6
Well,
trucks.
Baby Huey, you can vote for 6 trucks in our class.
Yeah.
Double Ugly's on there. Every truck up and down the West Coast is on there.
Yeah.
Go on there and vote, and it's a nice little trip. Like I said earlier, we went in the very first one.
That is
And,
not a little trip, John.
Yeah.
It's not. There's nothing about that trip that's little.
For you, it will be. You'll fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still not that little.
So I have to ask, because 3 of you are on that list. 3 of you currently don't have motors in your trucks.
Yeah, it's not happening. Yeah.
It's
2
in-
of you are 3 that I vote for.
It's in May. We got it made, man. We're good.
Okay.
Jeez.
All right, dude, I'm good.
We're good.
Their engine builder's not quite as overwhelmed as yours, Tom.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I know one of them has
Mine
the same
probably
engine
is,
builder.
but I don't know about yours.
Yeah, I think Kris was a little bit further along than everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He
I
started
think
way
I
before the
haven't
rest of
heard
us.
from him, so no news is good news.
Is it, John? Is it easier to build a 730-inch motor than it is a 650? Is that what you're saying?
806.
Yes. Yes.
806.
Oh, 806.
806.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, go big.
806.
Yeah.
Yeah. 806.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit, what was that?
I'm putting-
Damn it.
I'm putting
Why didn't we have
2
this
slant
conversation?
Minus
6 months ago?
200. That's what I got.
I'm putting 2 slant 6s welded together is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Leaning towers of power.
Two
Yeah,
slant
torque
sixes,
muscles.
yeah. 2 slant 6s. Perfect. Iowa. That's
Yeah,
even
see?
further yet, dude.
Get a couple pulls
That's
on
my
the way.
buddy who lives out there in Iowa.
Oh,
He,
yeah. Tell him to
his,
send us gas money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I told him.
Yeah. Send us some
Cool.
diesel to get us
Yep.
there. No,
But yeah, go on there and
this PPC
vote.
thing, we'll need a semi to haul us back there.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know a company that has semis.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
They do
nod,
heavy
nod.
haul.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wink, wink, nod, nod.
I could probably even talk a driver into doing it for just about hardly nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. See there, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you put the Dodge up front though, because I want him to catch all the bugs.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, for starters, is you got to get it up here
Right.
Oh,
for me to haul it there.
Yeah.
ah,
Actually,
lead
Kris
you
would
somewhere?
be easier because you can pick him up in Reno.
Right. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
pick us both up at Reno.
I actually have a job I need Kris to do anyway.
Oh
I'll get
yeah.
a hold of you after this. I bought a new side-by-side, and there's something down there I want you to see about going and getting for me.
Okay.
It's supposed to be close to you.
Okay.
Cool.
You're in
Vegas is
Carson,
not
right?
close, just so you know, Vegas is not close to me.
No. You're in Carson, right?
Yeah.
So it's close.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Kris has got a very well-known address for a lot of California pullers.
Uh-huh.
For what?
For a lot of
Oh, yeah.
California
Yeah.
pullers.
Oh yeah. Yep. I'm what they call the mule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you ever watch that movie, The Mule, Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
Where he runs drugs. Well, I run pulling parts.
Whole parts.
Nice.
They won't sell them in California, so they got to send them to my house, and then I got to run them over the hill.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Right. Pulling rig. Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
California's got so many bans on so many different things. It's kind of ridiculous. I can order a 16-volt battery, but I can't order a 16-volt charger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how stupid it is.
That's awesome.
I have to send my charger to Chris's house, and then he has to bring it over to me.
I get Summit catalogs with his name on them. That's no joke.
That's no joke.
No joke.
Damn.
The catalog he was supposed to get, which was a Christmas gift one year, never showed up, and that still upsets me.
That's awesome. I'm glad
I
he didn't.
got him a year's subscription to Mopar Muscle Magazine and had sent to his house.
Oh, that is hilarious.
That would have been a good fire starter.
Yep,
That's
right,
weird
yep.
that that didn't show up.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think he had a Mopar block on the house or something.
right. Yep.
So he just moved
FedEx,
over. He just moved over to the neighbors.
yeah, the FedEx guy looked over and saw the Ford emblems. He's like, hell, if I'm going over there.
Right on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a good show. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me on, guys.
Yeah,
I get
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Don't
it.
forget to go vote
Stick
TPC.
Yeah,
That's
go
right.
vote.
Second.
Yep.
Stick around a second. I'll play us out and we'll end it.